Hey everyone, this is Rachel. Thanks for clicking on my video. And I came in today to talk about Married to Medicine. This is reunion part 3. And y'all, I must say that this reunion for me was very real. It's some of the realest TV that Bravo has put on in any of their franchises. For me, this is a real look at how the inner workings of a marriage looks like. This is what it looks like. There are ups and downs, there are bad times, there are good times, and it's how the couples deal with it that make a marriage either successful or fall apart. Now, this episode picked up with the continuation of Dr. G telling what happened when he went to that hotel with that woman. Of course, in the last episode, he told us that him and some buddies, they picked up some women and they went back to a hotel. He claims that after getting to the hotel, that he had a change of heart and he didn't go through with what he intended to do, and he left. Now, the next morning when the hotel slipped the bill under the door, he says that the woman took the bill and tried to extort money out of him. Now, there was some back and forth on how Quad found out. He says he told her, but Quad said he told her only after, the story broke out in social media. And then he came to her and said that the woman was trying to extort money and that she needed to help him. Y'all, prior to this season, I really never paid attention to Dr. G. This season, got a different look at him, and I don't like his personality. He seems like he's very arrogant, and a lot of his behavior explains why Quad treats him the way that she does. When it's a marriage or a committed relationship where people are sharing a home, sharing a life, you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. You don't know what conversations they have, what they go through, the ups and downs. You only know the public face that they give you. So I believe Quad when she said that when he does stuff, he tries to weasel out of it. I believe Quad when she says that he doesn't seem to want to actually fight for the relationship. He's telling her basically it is what it is, take it or leave it. And she's not willing to do that. Now, that is her prerogative. This thing that people are saying that it doesn't seem like Quad cares about him, I don't see that. And the reason why I say that is because if you didn't care, you wouldn't be sitting there crying. If you didn't care, you would just pack your shit and say, you know what, I never liked this bullet head motherfucker anyway, so I'm going to pack my shit and I'm leaving his ass. But for a woman to sit there and be emotional about it, upset about it, that shows that she cares. Now, what I'm understanding is that these two may have been living apart for a few months or so. Now, I don't know if it's after Quad found out what Dr. G had done in that hotel, that she packed her shit and left. I don't know. But I do know that behind closed doors, y'all, I've been in a 17-year relationship. And I know that what people think is going on in the house is not necessarily what's actually going on. Now, I want to move to Cecil and Simone. Because for me, their marriage, their relationship, to me, is the realest of what a marriage is. You see Cecil talk about what he feels and how he feels Simone treats him and how he's ignored and how she's busy because she's a doctor. And then you hear Simone's side. And yes, Simone is loud and Lord, her octave, child, I wanted to say, Simone, quit yelling. But even throughout that yelling, she was able to get across that y'all don't know what's going on in our home. This man brought his quote-unquote friend into our home for 8 days during Christmas. and I didn't appreciate it. And I have been telling him for the last 5 years that this woman is causing problems in our marriage. You know, I don't like this relationship, this friendship that they have. And a point that Toya made that I picked up on also. Simone had been saying that Cecil has a problem with saying he loves her. But when he was talking about his friend and he had just mentioned, this is a platonic relationship, this is a very good friend, I actually love her. It was so easy for those words to roll off his tongue when he talked about that friend Tammy. And I believe that for Simone, that was a defining moment. Now, we watch as the other couples are trying to help them through this and talking to them about their relationship and what each one of them does. Now, it's something that Toya did that I didn't appreciate. Toya and Eugene. Like I said earlier, you don't know what's going on when a married couple closes their door. And when Dr. Eugene was trying to tell Simone what Cecil did or did not do, and Simone said, wait a minute, you don't tell me what's going on in my house. You don't know what happens when we close our doors. And Cecil is not quite what y'all think he is. I've been dealing with some shit. And y'all, in a relationship, it takes two to tango. Let me just say this. I remember when I was in the midst of my marriage, my long-term 17-year relationship. And people wouldn't understand why I would be mad at my ex. Like they would come over and they could tell that there was something going on because of the way we were acting towards each other. And he would always come off as, he's trying to work with me and it's me. I'm always mad and I always got an attitude. I wake up with an attitude. But what people didn't know is that he was cheating his ass off. That women were calling my house, that he was tipping out on Fridays, and it was a whole bunch of shit going on that I just didn't tell them. First of all, I was in shock that the man that I loved was cheating. And secondly, there's a measure of embarrassment that you are in this relationship with this man that is supposed to love you, and he's out there cheating with every Mary, Jane, Sue, and Becky. He's just out in the streets. I never told people. So when they were looking at us, they couldn't understand why, if he was running around fixing me plates and buying me gifts and bringing home flowers and all that stuff, was I acting mean towards him. But because I was holding in a lot of stuff. There was a lot of pain and hurt going on in my home that they didn't understand, that they knew nothing about. And that's because when a couple is behind closed doors, all bets are off and everything is out in the open, and there's discussions and things that happen that people don't know about. And I think that that's what Simone is saying. The public face that Cecil puts on is not necessarily the face that I get at home. And this whole thing with this Tammy, I think if Cecil loved his wife and she made it known that she didn't appreciate that friendship, he should have let it go. Because that probably wasn't the only problem, that contributed to Simone wanting to get a divorce. But when you're having problems and then you bring a third person in to those problems, it makes the other person say, you know what? It's one thing when we're dealing with each other, but when you start to bring a third party in that's all into your ear, I can't deal with this. Now, the other couples rallied around them. And there was a moment when Toya shut her big fucking judgmental mouth and went up there and sat by her husband, and Cecil came down and sat by Simone. And they were holding hands. And they were really, in that moment, seeing the other person for where they were. And there was a lot of pain on both of their faces. But one thing that I see in their case, Simone's husband, Cecil, really loves her. And I believe that Simone really loves him. I do believe they are just going through a bad patch. And with some counseling, because these two love each other, with some intense counseling, they may be able to get over what's going on with them. Because when you have love, it it is it is something to build from. You can work through all of your problems when you know that that other person loves you. There are no allegations of infidelity on Cecil's part. Simone is just simply saying that this friendship with this woman, Tammy, I don't want that in our marriage because it could possibly turn into something else. Get her out of your ear, out of our lives, so we can focus on our marriage and focus on the problems that we have. In their case, I'm rooting for them. Now, I don't know if Simone went through with the divorce. She said that when they got back to Atlanta, she had the papers, and all what it was left for Cecil to do was just to sign them. I hope that they were able to make it through this rough time, because I feel that there's something there between Cecil and Simone that's worth saving. Now, on the other hand, with Quad and Dr. G, I don't feel love there between them. I feel that their marriage, in their case, it might be a done deal. And it might be best to move on rather than stay together and continue to hurt each other. Because when you are in a marriage and there's hurt, there's misunderstanding, there's no compromise, there's no give, and you don't see, a light at the end of the tunnel. You don't see any options for making it work. There's nothing wrong with saying, I'd rather leave than hold on to something that I don't see any future in. And for those two, I don't really see a future for them. I know that when Quad, got the story out about what Dr. G did, and when Dr. G picked it up and finished telling what he did, it shocked and stunned some of the other couples. Simone went off. Bitches are looking for y'all. Bitches know that y'all are on this show, and bitches will be all up in your face. It's not rocket science. But what it is if you love your wife, you don't engage. You don't engage. And I don't like the fact that Dr. G was trying to find an excuse for what he did. He was like, I'm wondering what made me do this. I'm not that type of guy. And then Toya said you did it because you wanted to. Now, on that, I agree with her on. He went to that hotel because that's what he wanted to do. Now, whether he did or did not go through with what he intended to, we don't know. We only have his word for it. But we also didn't know that he was at the hotel with some bitch. Y'all, when I watch this show, it takes me through what it's like to work on a marriage. And it teaches me things that I will and will not do for my relationship. It's like a spotlight on how to work through things. Each of these couples have had their ups and downs. Each of these couples have found a way to either make it work or go on about their business. Now, one last thing before I end the video. I talked about Jackie, Dr. Jackie and her husband. For some reason, I think that Dr. Jackie is in a place where she has allowed Cecil back into the home. She has decided that they were going to work on it. But something, I'm sorry, I'm calling him Cecil. But something about Dr. Jackie's husband, y'all, for some reason, I don't feel that he's sincere. I feel that he's a little bit arrogant too about what he did. Because when Simone was yelling, bitches are gonna be all up in your face, and he said, "We know, Simone, we know." I was thinking, you know what? You need to shut your mouth because you was caught red-handed, pictures and all. Shut the hell up. This is not the time for you to be speaking up. Something about him, y'all, I don't like for Dr. Jackie. But hey, if that's what she wants, if she likes it, I love it. This season of Married to Medicine was really, really good. It's a testament to Black love, whether it's working or it's not working, but it shows how couples manage in their day-to-day lives. Y'all, marriage is not easy. Mine didn't survive, and a lot of it too, if I'm being honest, is because when I was in the heart of things, I don't think I knew how to deal with the problems that we were having. I was younger, I was more of a hothead, and my thing was, if this man doesn't seem to care, I'm going to take me and my kids and I'm going to get the hell up out of here. Because I don't have years to waste on someone who I don't feel is as committed to this relationship as I was. And y'all, I told my mother after me and him had broke up, because I went through like a year and a half or more of just pain in my heart. I hurt because I knew that, and this is what I told my mother, I didn't leave him because I didn't love him. I left him because he wasn't good for me. So it took a long time for my heart to get over him. My head was in the right place. It knew what was best for me. But it took a while for my heart to come along because my heart was broken, because I felt true, deep love for that man. And to get over it took a while, for my heart to settle down and say, you're no longer going to be with this person. You need to go on. It took a long time for my heart to heal. Because when you spend 17, 18, 21, 25, 30 years with somebody loving them, turning that love off is not easy. It is not easy. And y'all, I'm here to tell you, there was many a night that I laid in my bed and I cried and I asked God, had I done the right thing? Should I have, worked on it more? Should I have accepted some of the things that he was dishing? Because he wasn't a bad person. He just was a cheating motherfucker. Should I have tried to, have someone step in and counsel us through it? Or was the right thing for me to leave? Because this man just couldn't get cheating out of his system. And I look back, and sometimes I'm resolute in what I did by leaving. And sometimes I question that if I had been a little bit more, I don't know if mature is the word, but able to handle and weather his storms, as my mother called it. The woman that I am today, I say, Rachelle, you did the right thing. Because once you left, you had peace of mind. You weren't, worried that the person that you love was out in the street, whatever, Mary, Jane, Sue, Becky, and whoever. So you did the right thing. You had peace in your heart because your heart wasn't getting broken, fucking with this man. Y'all, I don't know. So for Quad, I think it's a wrap. I think Dr. Heavenly and her husband's marriage is solid. Jackie, I believe, is still on shaky ground. Simone and Cecil, I'm really rooting for them. I hope they can make it, and I hope they did. I hope when next season comes back that those two are still together because they've done some counseling. Um, let's see. What's her name? Big Mouth Toya. Toya and her husband, they seem to have a solid marriage, but they're a little judgmental. Mariah and her husband, child, look, y'all know. And the new girl, who I can't think of her name right now, her and her husband seem to be on a good foundation. But let's face it, this is just their first season. We really don't know them yet. So only time will tell with their marriage and being on reality TV, y'all, because I believe reality TV plays a number on some of these people's marriages. Well, y'all, that is my review. I probably rattled on and went all out of order, but y'all get what I'm saying about these marriages. I would love to know what y'all think about Cecil and Simone and Quad and her husband, Dr. G, because it's important for us to share and talk about it, and I would love to hear what y'all have. Put it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching my video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care now. Bye-bye.